So it's late June 1980, and 5 high school seniors walk into a Denny's at midnight. And we're all golf caddies, and in fact we comprise the top social group among the 200 golf caddies in the North Shore Country Club caddy yard. And given the small size of our group, we each have distinct roles, and mine is weak link. So I'm eager to impress the rest of the group with my late night knowledge. So I'm like, I recommend the French onion soup. They've got unlimited refills, just on the soup, not on the crouton and the cheese. So no one gets the soup, and my loserness is demoralized the whole table. And hoping for redemption, I think people subconsciously turn their eyes toward Jack O'Donnell, the undisputed leader of the caddy yard. Now Jack's this tall, good-looking guy with long red hair, and he's got all the essential ingredients for leadership in the caddy yard. He's a heavy partier, and he's perceptive and decisive. And although none of us realize it at the time, he speaks almost entirely in short-form haiku. So without even looking up from the menu, he says, "Chicken pot pie, 3 of my favorite things." and the group's honor is restored. Now, a year ago, I wouldn't have even been allowed at this table. A year ago, my nickname was Hot Pants, after failing to perceive the decade-long trend towards shorter and shorter jean shorts had sharply reversed. And but it's like I started a new life in 1980 after becoming friends with Jack, and also because I won the Evans Scholarship. And that's the scholarship in the movie Caddyshack. It actually exists, and it's a 4-year full ride to any school in the Midwest, and it's based on grades, need. Oh, thank you. And grades, need, and career caddy achievement, and it's the best thing that's ever happened to me, assuming I don't do something stupid to lose it. So, it's a few days later, it's the 4th of July tournament, and I'm out on a loop that's 18 holes caddying. And the other caddy on the loop is Jack O'Donnell. And so on the 12th hole, the group takes a break, and, Jack, lies down, and he covers his eyes. And, so I'm like, a tough night. And he's like, "Case of Bud. When I shat, it broke the sink." And so, we're like, we're talking, and we start talking and everything. And he invites me to join him and a few of his friends that evening. They're going to do Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. So I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. And he's like, he says, well, they'll pick me up at 8. And I'm like, cool. I have absolutely no idea what Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous is. I'm at a dangerous point in my life. Like good, hard-working kids like me are good for one of 2 reasons. Either they have a strong internal compass, or they have no internal compass and just look for the approval of their parents and teachers. And I'm in the latter group, except now I just care about Jack's approval. And so it doesn't matter what Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous is. I'm going to go along with it. So I go out on our, crappy little Illinois front lawn, Niles, Illinois front lawn at 8, and because we've got yard gnomes and a plastic white statue of St. Francis with sand in the bottom, and we still got a gold garage front door with avocado trim, and I kind of associate my parents' house and my parents in the 70s, with my old life, which I'm going to leave behind tonight. So Jack picks me up at 8:30 in his van, and he's already got there's already another passenger there, and it's some guy I don't know, and he's in sitting in front, and he's in a t-shirt and jeans and smoking a cigarette, and he doesn't talk to me. So I just sit in the back and enjoy the floor-to-ceiling carpeting and the view out the amber-tinted circular window. And then we pick up a couple, and I'll refer to them as Bonnie and Clyde. And they sit in the back, but they don't speak to me. They just talk with Jack and ask him about his map of homes in Winnetka, which is the wealthiest suburb in Chicago. And they start talking about which house we should hit. Then we pick up the last passenger. It's Jack's girlfriend. I didn't know he had a girlfriend. I mean, it's okay, I'm straight, but she should have told me. So, and she says something about aquatic facilities, and I'm like, oh, it's Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous is just where you find a nice house where no one's home and then go swim in their pool. So it's a big relief, and it's 4th of July weekend, so a lot of people aren't home, and we get hit on the first house, and we sneak barefoot across the huge lawn, and they got a fence, but the gate's open, and we're all going back. Now everybody's got bathing suits underneath their clothes, except for me and the other single guy. And he just takes off his shirt and smokes a cigarette on the patio. And I figure I'll just go in my underpants, which are tidy whities from Fruit of the Loom. And they've had a resurgence recently, the company, not my underpants. And so I jump in, and it's great, because I feel like an outlaw, but it gets old in 5 minutes, and so meanwhile the two couples have started having chicken fights. So I try to join in, and I'm like laughing and splashing, and which totally bums everyone out, even the guy in the patio, and so I go and swim in the deep end, which is unlit. And that's actually a lot of fun, because it's diving down in the dark, and in the distance I can see the pale legs and the light, like in the shark from Jaws. And at some point when I'm underwater, I hear sounds. So I stick my head above water like a frog, and I hear the words police and caddy and North Shore Country Club. The owner's home. He's a member at North Shore Country Club, and he recognizes Jack as a caddy. And I think I recognize him. I'm pretty sure it's Bill Winkler, who's very powerful. He's on the Greens Committee. So if he sees me, I could lose my scholarship. But he doesn't see me. So I figure I'll just stay in the water until everything blows over, and what's like 8 hours versus, and walk home, and what's 8 hours versus my future. But then I realized, my clothes are on the patio. He's going to see them. So I'm going to have to get out. Well, maybe I can, just cover my face with my hand. But that never works. What I really need is a mask. But all I've got is my underpants. And at this point, I make a difficult decision. And I slip them off in the water and put my head through. And luckily, they have those elastic leg things, which make good eye holes, and they actually are large. They give me kind of a friendly appearance, and I silently, climb out of the pool, and he doesn't see, and he hasn't seen me, and now, amazingly, the most alarming aspect of my nude appearance is not the wet underwear on my head. It would be my caddy tan, which. Even now, I have like a permanent color gradient from years of caddying, but back then it was extreme. It was like Heidi Klum and Seal, so I start creeping across, towards my clothes, and then he sees me, and he says, "You asshole!" And so I run, I grab my clothes, and I just slightly look him in the eye, and I suddenly have this I just feel terrible. This I probably donated to my scholarship, and now I'm invading his yard. And so as I run past him, I just tilt my head slightly toward him and kind of just wave to say, I'm sorry things turned out like this. We're not that different. And then I keep running, and he just looks at me and says, "You asshole." And so I just keep running, I step into my shorts on the side of the house, run across the big lawn, down the street, and the van's there, and I run up and I start pounding on the back window, and everyone's sitting in the back, and they look up at me and laugh, and that way you might laugh if you're totally baked, and a person with wet underwear in their head is pounding on the window saying, unlock the door, unlock the door. And then I'm like, oh, they must be confused. So I lift up my underpants. I'm like, it's me. And the laughter triples, partly because I think, the door's been unlocked the whole time. So the ride back, I feel stupid, partly because of the door, and partly because, for having ignored, my parents' good advice, about not giving in to peer pressure and not leaving the house without clean underwear. And I get home, and as I'm on my lawn, and the gnomes and St. Francis are smiling at me enigmatically as I squeeze out my underwear on our lawn, and I go into my parents' house, and I'm still psyched for the 80s, but I'm glad the 70s are there if I need them. Thank you.
Before you get